time for me to talk about the big boss man in the room, the number one, the only leading apologist for Israel and modern-day genocide, the little Chihuahua himself. The facts do not care about your feelings until it has anything to do with Israel. The one that most of us probably first found whenever we first started getting into politics, the big bad dog himself, Ben Shapiro. Oh, Ben, I used to watch your shows, read your articles with such admiration. The way that you would articulate your arguments, the way that you were so forceful about facts overcoming other people's feelings. I feel like you've completely turned your back on me and millions of other Americans, because now your little temper tantrum and lying fits are far worse than any of those on the left. With their with your high-pitched, nasally, ear-piercing voice shooting all over the airways, preaching about how Christianity has to support Israel, how America has to support Israel, and anyone who even asks questions, you put them in the same sentence as Hitler and Nazis. I do not believe you're America first. I believe you only want America to be successful as long as it benefits you and the people you are associated with and the country of Israel. Why would I say such a strongly worded thing about you? Well, because I have read your very own quotes. And let's go over a few of them. Now, this is a little bit different. These quotes are not referring to the interview. I'm just showing you how much of a prick Ben Shapiro is and how he is not America first. He doesn't really care about America. He only cares about it as long as it's beneficial to him and other Jewish people. Because Jewish people's number one priority will always be themselves. It will not be America. Quick thing, go watch the Tucker Carlson, Nick Fluentes video. Please, 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 okay? Quote, the existence of the state of Israel is the single greatest guarantor of my loyalty to the United States. That's kind of a strange thing to say. So if Israel ceased to exist, you would no longer be loyal to the United States. Okay, that might be reaching a little bit, but he straight up says it is the single greatest guarantor of his loyalty to the United States. Why do you need a foreign country's existence for you to be loyal to the country that you are currently in? The one that you are claiming to want to benefit. The country that your organization spends millions of dollars a year to get people that you want elected. That's kind of a conflict of interest. You have a major media platform with millions of subscribers, and you openly make comments like this. I don't understand why anyone would trust you, why anyone should think that you're doing, that what you're doing is beneficial for America, because you have made it very obvious that what you want is what's best for Israel. Let's move on to him openly supporting a genocide. And I don't mean something that I would consider a genocide. I'm saying he says in his own words, which I will read to you, saying that the only option for Palestine is, well, okay. This quote requires a little bit of context because Ben is not a complete idiot. I will give him that. He is an intelligent, articulate individual, and he is very good at hiding his actual intentions through colorful language. However, as also someone who is not a complete idiot, I am able to do something that most Americans are not able to do, which is read. And I mean reading entire quotes from you, or entire articles that you wrote, or looking further into individuals that I saw a 5-second clip of. Now, this is from a long time ago. I will preference that. However, all of this is to show how extreme his beliefs were, and I don't really think he's toned them down. He might have toned them down publicly, but I don't think his actual beliefs or opinions have changed. Let's look at a piece of writing from Ben Shapiro that was from a town hall column dated August 27, 2003. Quote, the title, transfer is not a dirty word. Remember that word, transfer. It's very important. Here's the quote. Here's the bottom line. If you believe that the Jewish state of Israel has a right to exist, so if you just believe it has the right to exist, then you must allow Israel to transfer the Palestinians and the Israeli Arabs from Judea, Samaria, Gaza, and Israel proper. It is an ugly solution, but it's the only solution. Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. He's just saying transfer, right? That's not bad. If you read it plainly, he's not talking about borders or security measure. He is explicitly recommending what he calls a transfer, which in this context means the forcible removal or displacement of an entire population. He identifies his targets clearly: Palestinians and Israeli Arabs living in Israel and the surrounding occupied territories. And he frames it as the only solution. This is not just harsh rhetoric, okay? International law recognizes that forcibly removing a population or forceful population transfers and conditions designed to destroy or permanently remove a group can constitute ethnic cleansing or fall under genocidal framework. The UN Genocide Convention defines genocide as an act that deliberately inflicts conditions calculated to destroy a group in whole or in its part. Forced transfer sits right next to that legal threshold. Okay? So what Shapiro is actually advocating here for is the permanent uprooting of an entire civilian population. He calls it ugly, but he also says it's the only solution. He is arguing for the removal of human beings from their homes, just for the sake of preserving the Jewish state. That is exactly why critics describe this column as condoning ethnic cleansing and I'll get it right here in a second, people, and genocidal adjacent measures. Advocating the permanent removal of a civilian population, that's not a debate. That is a prescription for mass human suffering. And while he says it is necessary, the reality is simple. He is arguing for the systematic uproot of an entire people. Think about that for a second. If this was about any other group of people, would it be anything less than a crime? You would think so, wouldn't you? You really would think so. Now, I've got another quote from him to read. Now, y'all are just going to have to stay with me on this one, okay? Just stay with me, all right? When I say I don't care about the browning of America, again, I don't. Race is of no relevance to me. Only ideology. Honestly, that does sound kind of reasonable. He's saying it's not about race. But once you actually dig into this, the danger in this worldview is clear. In the 1960s, America was 90% white. Today, it's about 55% white. That's just a little fact for you. By claiming that only ideology matters, Shapiro is effectively dismissing the long-term survival of the American project itself. Here's the problem. A nation is not just a collection of ideas floating in a vacuum. America is a country built on shared cultures, common civic values, and a historical foundation. These are inseparable from the people who practice them. To say that only ideology matters is to ignore how cultural cohesion, shared norms, and generational continuity are essential to sustaining a free and functioning republic. And make no mistake, I'm not saying some abstract philosophy. This has real-world consequences. By ignoring who is shaping the next and future generations and focusing solely on ideological alignments, Shapiro opens the door to a radical culture shift, foreign influence and policies that may erode American sovereignty from within. That sounds pretty freaking familiar, huh? He is essentially saying, I don't care if the American population itself changes, as long as their ideas align with his. And what are his beliefs? Well, we already know he only supports America as long as it's supporting Israel. So to me, his main beliefs are to make sure that these people support Israel and the Jewish people. Which, I'm not saying that we need to persecute the Jewish people. What I'm trying to say, why the hell do we care more about another country than our own damn country? It is a reckless, elitist, and dangerously short-sighted worldview. It gets worse when you consider Shapiro's track record. This is a man whose loyalty and priorities are often framed around Israel, another nation state, rather than placing America first. Yet here he is dismissing the preservation of American culture and institutions at home as a secondary, focusing narrowly on only ideology. From an America First perspective, that is not just a policy disagreement. That is the betrayal of the principles that America existed first and foremost to serve its own people's interest. Let's just be blunt. Ideology cannot replace the tangible social glue that makes a nation resilient. A country is more than a set of beliefs. It is a living, breathing system of culture, laws, language, and values passed down through the generations. Shapiro's logic says, in effect, as long as the people think correctly, it doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, or whether they share a historical commitment to this country. That is radically dangerous and deeply un-American.